Okay, so are you ready to unpack Atomic Habits with me? This book, it's not just another self-help book promising you the moon and the stars.
No, not at all.
You sent over this book by James Clear.
Yeah,
And I gotta say, his personal story, it really drew me in.
it's incredible.
Imagine this. A near-fatal accident lands him in a medically induced coma.
Wow. Talk about a wake-up call.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like hitting the reset button on life.
Yeah.
He wakes up from this coma and he's dealing with double vision, facial fracture. I mean, the works.
Oh, wow.
But instead of being completely overwhelmed by this massive mountain he has to climb, he focuses on the smallest steps, even learning to walk in a straight line again. I mean, something most of us take for granted. It took him months of dedicated effort.
It's amazing, isn't it? And I think it really highlights the core message of the book, that even when we're faced with these seemingly insurmountable obstacles, it's the tiny, consistent actions that lead to those remarkable transformations.
Absolutely. It's like he discovered the power of tiny gains.
Right.
And speaking of those small steps, Clear talks about how just focusing on goals can actually be, well, kind of limiting. Why is that?
Well, I think we often get so fixated on the end result, right? I want to be fitter. I want that promotion. Those big goals.
Right, we've all been there.
We forget about the systems, the processes, the steps that actually get us there.
It's like drawing this elaborate map to a destination, but never actually figuring out how to fuel the car.
That's a great analogy.
Clear says, and I'm quoting here, goals are about the results you want to achieve. Systems are about the processes that lead to those results. So instead of just saying, I want to write a novel, it's about thinking, okay, what's the daily writing habit I need to establish? That becomes your system.
Absolutely. That's your system. And what are the building blocks of any effective system? Habits.
Habits. Okay, so how do we build these systems, these habits that actually stick? Because I think that's something a lot of us struggle with.
Right. Well, Clear dives into the science behind this, and he talks about what he calls a 4-step feedback loop. Cue, craving, response, and reward.
Okay, so cue me in on this feedback loop. Let's break it down.
Okay, so imagine this. It's the end of a long day, and you're about to sink into the couch, relax, when you spot that bowl of candy sitting on the coffee table.
Oh, I know that feeling.
Right, and that, my friend, is your cue. It's that trigger. It kicks off the whole habit cycle.
It's like the starting pistol.
Exactly. Now, this cue, it triggers a craving. In this case, maybe it's the desire for that sugary treat, little mood boost.
Okay, I'm already reaching for the candy just visualizing this.
Right. And that right there, that's the response. That's the actual habit in action. You grab a handful of candy, pop it in your mouth. But here's the key. For a habit to stick, for it to really become ingrained, this response needs to be followed by a reward.
So it's not enough to just do the thing. You got to get that positive reinforcement.
Exactly. And this reward, it could be the immediate pleasure of the sugar rush, the feeling of stress melting away. But that reward, it reinforces the habit, making it even more likely that you'll repeat the cycle the next time you encounter that bowl of candy at the end of a long day.
It's like this continuous loop, constantly reinforcing itself. It makes you realize how powerful these seemingly small actions can be over time.
Absolutely.
But how do we hack this system, this feedback loop, to work for us, especially when it comes to building habits? Those things we know are good for us, but don't always feel as tempting as that bowl of candy.
That's where things get really interesting. Because Claire argues that we're not just creatures of habit, we're also creatures of our environment.
So are we saying, like, we need to redesign our environments to make those good habits easier and kind of push those bad habits further away?
Exactly. It's like, think about it. How often have you found yourself just scrolling through social media without even realizing it, just because your phone was right there?
Oh, all the time. Guilty as charged.
Or maybe you walk past, like, a bakery,
Yeah.
and you can't resist grabbing a cookie from that tempting display.
Oh, yeah, the bakery, especially if it's like right on the counter.
Exactly. Our environment can be like a giant vending machine, constantly presenting us with choices. And let's be real, we don't always make the healthiest picks.
Definitely not. Sometimes those donuts, they just call your name. But so how do we fight back against that?
Well, that's where this idea of friction comes in. Clear talks about this a lot. Basically, the harder it is to do something, the less likely we are to actually do it.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's like, if you want to eat healthier, you swap that cookie jar on the counter for a bowl of fruit. You got to make that healthy choice, the easy choice.
Exactly. And you know what's amazing? Even small changes can make a huge difference. I mean, think about it.
Oh, I'm sure. I actually moved my phone to a different room when I'm working. It's amazing. That tiny bit of friction, it really does reduce those mindless scrolling sessions.
Exactly. You see, small changes, big impact. And the same goes for making those good habits stick. Remember we talked about the 2-minute rule earlier?
Yeah, breaking down like a daunting task into something super manageable, right?
Right, exactly. And it fits in perfectly with this idea of designing our environment. Let's say you want to write every day. Instead of staring at a blank page feeling intimidated, what if you just open your laptop and commit to writing just one sentence? Just one.
One sentence. Okay, that seems doable even on a busy day.
Exactly. And here's the thing. Our brains, they hate leaving things unfinished. Psychologists even have a name for it. The Zeigarnik effect. Once you've started that one sentence, you're much more likely to keep writing. You've broken through that initial barrier.
Oh, I totally get that. It's like when you decide to clean just one corner of the room and suddenly you're like, well, might as well tackle the whole thing.
Yes, exactly. That's it. But, starting a habit, it's only half the battle. How do we make sure those habits actually last, that we stick with them for the long run?
Right, because we've all been there, started strong, and then, life happens. I'm guessing this is where our good friend instant gratification comes in. Our brains, they love a good reward, especially a fast one.
You got it. You hit the nail on the head. That's why it's so easy to get hooked on things like social media. You get that instant dopamine. But when it comes to things like exercising or saving money, those rewards, they're way down the line.
Yeah, it's like delayed gratification versus like instant gratification. So how do we bridge that gap? How do we make those long-term habits feel as good, as rewarding as those quick fixes? So how do we make those long-term habits feel as good, as rewarding as those quick fixes? It's like that marshmallow test, right? Can we resist the treat now for something even better down the line?
It's definitely a challenge, no doubt. But Clear, he offers some pretty clever strategies in the book.
Okay, like what?
One thing he talks about is building in those quick win rewards. So let's say your goal is to save more money, right? Every time you resist that impulse purchase, you transfer that exact amount right then and there into your savings account.
Oh, I see. So you're like giving yourself a mini reward for making the responsible choice.
Exactly. It's about tricking your brain a little, making it crave that feeling of, hey, I'm making progress. And speaking of which, remember those habit trackers we talked about?
Yeah, the ones where you like check off each day you stick to your habit.
Exactly. Those tap into a similar principle. Seeing that streak, that chain of successful days, it can be incredibly motivating.
Yeah, it's like visual proof that you're capable of sticking to something. Each check mark is a little victory, right?
Exactly. And as those small wins add up, something really interesting happens. It's what Clear calls the shift from outcome-based habits to identity-based habits.
Okay, now you've lost me a little. Identity-based habits. What's that all about?
So it's like this. It's the difference between, say, wanting to lose weight, right, and seeing yourself as a healthy person.
Okay, so it's a mindset shift. It's about more than just the actions themselves.
Exactly. It's about those core beliefs, those values that shape our actions. When we start identifying with a habit, when it becomes part of who we are, not just something we do, that's when it really sticks.
It's less about forcing yourself to go to the gym and more about embodying that, hey, I'm the kind of person who prioritizes fitness mentality.
Exactly. And, it makes me think back to James Clear's own story. He didn't just want to walk again. He was determined to reclaim his identity as an athlete. That belief, it fueled his entire recovery.
It's like those habits, they become less of a chore and more of a reflection of our values, who we are deep down.
Yeah.
But okay, so let's say we've got the right mindset. We're building those identity-based habits. How do we keep that momentum going, especially when, life happens? We hit those inevitable plateaus because it can't always be smooth sailing, right?
You're absolutely right. And that's where I think this idea of the Goldilocks rule comes in. Clear talks about this. He says we're at our most motivated when we're working on tasks that are, just the right amount of challenging.
Oh, I like that, the Goldilocks rule. It's about finding that sweet spot, that edge where we're pushing ourselves, but we're not completely burnt out, overwhelmed.
Exactly. Too easy, we get bored, we disengage.
Yeah.
Too hard, we get discouraged, we give up. It's about finding that balance.
I can see how that applies to so many things, our workout routines, those ambitious projects we take on at work, even just learning a new skill. If it's too easy, you're not really growing. Too hard, you get frustrated. It's got to be just right.
Exactly. And the key is, as we master one level, we adjust, right? We find a new edge. It's a continuous process of growth. And here's the exciting part. As we build these positive habits, as we find that sweet spot, We're not just transforming our behaviors, we're shaping our identities. We're becoming the best versions of ourselves.
It's really incredible when you think about it. It's like Atomic Habits. It gives you this framework, these tools, to not just achieve a specific goal, but to really become the architect of your own life, one tiny change at a time.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's about recognizing that those small, consistent actions, they have this incredible power to create extraordinary results.
And that's the beauty of it, right? It's not about some massive overnight transformation. It's about those small atomic changes that compound over time. And that's something everyone can get behind.
Absolutely. Everyone has the power to make those small changes. It's about taking that first step, finding your cue, creating your reward, and designing your environment for success.
Well, there you have it. Atomic Habits Unpacked. It's a reminder that we're not just creatures of habit, we're creators of them. And with the right tools and mindset, we can all achieve those remarkable results one tiny step at a time.